You're listening to Tripod, the Tricycle Creative podcast, created to help entrepreneurs be better marketers. Each episode features news, tips, interviews, and commentary from the worlds of marketing, media, and, well, miscellaneous. Now, here are your co-hosts, Ross Erosion and Chris Slezak.
It's Tripod. It is the Tricycle Creative Digital Marketing Podcast. I am Ross, and joined, as always, he is the Shemp to my Mo. It's Chris.
Hello.
Hello to you.
Shemp was always my favorite student.
Mine too. Mine too.
Right.
Yeah.
That says a lot about us.
It really does, because Shemp was always one of my faves too, but I definitely see Mo he was the ringleader. So he always got Shemp into trouble, which I feel like inevitably is what I have done to you throughout your life. So it just seemed to fit.
Yeah.
Also, I am always poking you in the eyeballs with my two fingers. So, always getting you.
Painfully true.
Painfully true. One of these days you'll learn the block. One of these days. So how are you?
I'm good.
You're good? You've been traveling.
I've been on the road.
World. By the world, I mean...
You mean West Texas and part of Colorado.
That's right.
Yeah. But a part of the world I've never seen. I'd never been to Colorado.
Was it lovely?
Beautiful.
Whoa.
Beautiful country.
What is this? Podcast sponsored by the Colorado Tourism Board, our new sponsor. If you're listening for the first time, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say the band went out there for a quick, few gigs. Did a few gigs out in Amarillo, Texas, and Denver, and Colorado Springs. And
you did a house party, you said.
Did a house party. That's what happens when you hit the road and then you don't get the gigs you want. Then they're like, well, we can do one at our house.
Oh, that was a fallback? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was kind of a fall. I mean, great fallback, though.
Sure, so, okay. Fantastic.
I'm certainly not complaining about it.
Very nice.
Yeah, got there and back all in one piece, and probably a couple of bucks in my pocket.
Whoa, a couple buckaroos. Mm-hmm. That's pretty good.
I can buy a hot meal.
Well, a hot meal of chili.
Mm-hmm.
This podcast sponsored by Texas Chili. Never mind. It's not important. Sponsors are not important. If you're here, here's what this show is about. It's about helping small businesses and entrepreneurs be smarter, more informed marketers. That's what we're doing. And for the last couple of weeks, we went a little off the path. That's okay. Life does that sometimes. Sometimes you just want to mix it up. We're no different. We're people. Chris, are we not people?
If you podcast us, do we not stream?
That's exactly what I wanted to say, except a lot more eloquently than what you said, but similar sentiment. That's what we are here to do. Last week, we walked you through a workshop that I normally do. That's pretty exciting. And the week before that, we had an interview. So now we're getting back on track, back to what we know, back to what we do best, back for what we're known in the industry for, Chris, right?
Yeah. This is what we made our name on.
People, you mentioned Tripod, and they go, oh my God, are you talking about marketing, media, and miscellaneous? And then I say, yes, that is what we are talking about. And today we have 3 subjects in those exact same categories.
Great.
First, marketing. Now, Chris threw a curveball. Normally, he's our miscellaneous guy. Not this week. Nay. This week, he says, I'm going to step it up. He says, I'm going to bring something different to the table. And what he's brought to the table is in our marketing category. We're going to talk a little about D-marketing. What is that? It's direct mail marketing. I just made that up. It's the other D marketing. Digital marketing, direct mail marketing, not what you were thinking. You get your mind out of the gutter. Talking to you, Chris.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep. Knock it off. I see what you're Googling, and I'm going to need you to cut that out. Then we're going to talk about media, a big, interesting, and really helpful update for IGTV. And if you don't know what IGTV is, all the more reason to stay tuned. And then, lastly, falling into the miscellaneous category, we're going to talk a little live streaming. How about all that? How's that sound, Chris?
It sounds exciting.
Sounds like a great show. Sounds like a great show to be labeled and numbered number 8, which is where we're at. And if you're just listening for the first time, where have you been? We got all kinds of other episodes. You should check them out. You should also subscribe, rate, like, comment with us, connect with us on the social media. Chris, social media, where all the media gets socials. We are at Hello Tricycle on everything. We're everywhere. We're everywhere you want to be. Except Reddit. We don't have a Reddit account. I have a Reddit account, but that's not important.
Yeah, I have one, but that's perfect.
Reddit's not about connecting with people. People don't understand that. It's not what we do here in Reddit. It's not what it's about. Anywho, what we do here on Tripod is talk about marketing, media, and miscellaneous. So with that, let's do it. So Chris is putting on his big boy pants today, and he has brought to the table a little marketing topic. As we said, we're talking about direct mail. And with that, I'm going to put a little postage on it, and I'm going to send it on over to you, Chris. Fire away.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to take those pants, and I'm going to take them right back off, and I'm going to put them on my wife, because this actually came sort of from her. We were going through our mail, and as usual, get tons of junk mail, and sort of have the discussion of like, is direct mail even effective anymore? Like, I can't believe that the amount that we still get of direct mail. And I just figure in today's society, with everything being digital, it just seems so antiquated to still get direct mail in your mailbox, and it's a huge pain and seems like a waste. Especially with all the companies going green and everything, it seems like a major waste of paper. Mm-hmm. And I would think ineffective, because like, who's sitting down to return mail? Have you ever received a coupon in the mail and kept that and used it? I've kept it. Yeah, I know. That's the problem, right? I don't know. You kept it. You don't read the expiration date. We literally just had a purge of that in our household, where we have the stack, and we're like, oh, we're gonna use this get free queso coupon, and it expires this week. So we now have to go to this taco shop down the street like 3 times this week if we want to redeem all those coupons. I mean, it winds up either on the fridge or in the drawer that we all have full of prospects, and where dreams go to die. That's true. Yeah, no, I certainly. The interesting potential take there from a direct mailer might be, well, even by putting it on your fridge or putting it on your counter, you're getting some amount of, I'll say, brand recall or recognition. Sure. Right? I definitely know the name of that taco place down the street, because I see that coupon every time I put my keys down on the counter. Right? Yeah. So it's weird that like, I think you're right. Like, obviously I think the correct term there would be what you'd said is it's antiquated. It's definitely analog versus digital marketing, which is where we spend the bulk of our time talking. And we kicked around some articles, some things here, 80% of consumers saying they will open all their mail, including junk mail. Who's opening things that they know is junk mail? Who are these people? Like, if I get something from a credit card or even from a bank that you can so tell that it's junk mail, I just rip it in half. Do you open your junk mail? A lot of times, no. Yeah. I don't know, 50-50. Yeah. Okay. Sometimes that's not 80. That's not 80%. Right. It's easy to tell for me, having such a long first name. If it says Christophe and not Christopher, then that's a big red flag. I thought Christophe was your. You thought that was my given name? Yeah, I thought that was your given name. I thought you went with Christopher because of all that teasing from grade school. I just added the R to be cool. But you have 2 E's in it, right? Christophe and then an R. So you just added it. You didn't subtract the second E. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, I think also when you have like a last name, but I mean, usually they get that right.
and I don't have like a shortened. My long name is not Rostifer or anything like that, so I don't have a shortened name. I think that there's also some points being made from the articles we kicked around here, which we will share some of this data. If you go to tricycle-creative.com/tripod, we have our show notes there, or just go to our website at tricycle-creative and navigate you there for the show notes. We'll share some of this data that we're going to talk about here. But talking about, that it has less competition. So, okay, you get, the case being, you get 200 emails a day. I don't know. And 30 of them are maybe, I don't want to even say spam, but let's just say advertising stuff.
Sure.
Right? It's noisy. A lot of those you won't even open. Whereas, according to these data, you'll, and by open, let's just say look at, right? You'll look at the title, but you'll click that box beside and delete, swipe, delete, won't even open it.
Yeah.
The thought would be with direct mail, if you're not sending it inside an envelope, if you send like a little like postcard, right, or a larger size postcard, you're gonna see it. You're gonna see it, and I think particularly if it's a coupon or something like that, you're going to see it. And even if you don't act on it immediately, you're going to put it off to the side, right?
Right. It might live on your kitchen counter.
Yeah.
Or wherever you keep your
And
mail.
one of these reports it says, okay, email, paid search, and social media offer a 1% return. And let's see here. I'm trying to think. Oh, direct mail, average response rate of 5%. I wouldn't think that, they've done the research, so I'm not going to say it's wrong, right? But I will say it is more expensive, can be more expensive for sure. And I think that just like anything else, what's the thing we're just always hammering home on this show is that it should be thought out and strategic. Just spraying and praying with direct mail, that ain't going to do it. You can be, particularly now, you can be just as thoughtful and strategic with direct mail as you, maybe not just as, but more thoughtful and strategic than you used to be able to with direct mail as you can with some of your digital stuff.
Sure.
And where the value I think really comes in is combining them in a Voltron situation, if you will, Now the challenge there is directly connecting maybe site visitors to, direct mail. It's going to be harder versus digital. With digital, you could still serve things up to them. They're not going to give you their mailing address just by showing up, to your website.
Yeah. I feel like for me personally, where maybe it does work, when you move to a new house and they send you the large envelope full of coupons.
Sure.
And, I'll use the 10% off at whatever hardware store or, home decor store or whatever they send. That to me, but those are usually already established brands and companies that I would have gone to anyway.
Yeah.
Like you were saying about the free queso. If you follow through with it, great, it's effective. But I feel like a lot of times I don't.
Yeah. Well, just to be very clear, this is like the third exact same coupon we've got in the past year, and it's like we've whiffed the other two times. Right. Maybe we'll follow through. We literally have until the end of the week, so stay tuned to find out. Will Ross get free queso? But it's free. But here's the thing: now we're getting a little in the weeds on this. It's free if you buy something $5 or more. That's, I would argue, not free. That is supplementary. But nonetheless, okay, it's okay. It's all right. So we'll see. So I think that direct mail is I am not someone who just says throw out anything analog, right? If you were to choose from, let's put digital on the shelf for a second and choose from the more traditional of, let's say, direct mail, newspaper, radio, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which one of those three would you choose for your marketing advertising dollars?
Well, I guess it depends on the audience, right? I mean,
that's an astute point.
Because if I'm not mistaken, some of the reading I did, the direct mailing is still pretty effective for older generations.
Granddad.
Yeah.
Or grandma.
Because that's what they grew up with. I mean,
for sure.
It makes more sense. I would say for the younger generation, they're just like, what is this? What is this paper you speak of?
Yeah, for sure. Almost everything they get they just chuck it. Like getting anything in the mail is a kind of foreign concept, potentially. Could get there, I think just kind of averaging out all of the potential audiences, and if you had to pick one, I think direct is probably the best of those three of the kind of quote unquote traditional.
Sure.
Print and then into radio. I think a lot of people too, a lot of the places that do direct mail, they also do design services. So I was going to say the barrier to entry here is that, people don't have a designer, but a lot of places that do direct mail also do the design work for you. So if you are interested in direct mail and that's the reason why you haven't been doing it, I definitely recommend reaching out to, your local print shop. I work with one here that's in Round Rock, and they definitely do stuff like this. I don't particularly do it, but I know they do it for some of their clients for sure. They do the design work and then they do the print. And some of the print shops they even dabble and work in and do some of the direct mail stuff.
And like I said, from my perspective, it's tough because I just hate having to just immediately be like, well, here's a bunch of paper I have to send to recycling. It just feels like a waste. And it feels like a real drag on the environment. But
so
if somebody did something creative, like they send their ad and it also is like, oh, instead of throwing this away, go plant it. It contains, seeds. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you got a tree in your yard that you're like, oh yeah, the, car wash down the street gave me a tree. Well, that's a lasting
doing anything
impression.
Creative on any the marketing thing is definitely the way to go. But yeah, you're right. And I can see how you could ascribe kind of this negativity towards people who maybe are constantly sending you stuff, particularly if it's not relevant to you, And that's where a good direct mail company should be helping you hit households that are in a demographic. This applies to everything in marketing. If you're saying the wrong things to the wrong people, then it's not going to resonate at all. And then you are just a waste of money, whether that's through messaging or medium, whether it's through what you're putting on that piece of direct mail or the fact that you're just using direct mail itself. And maybe you're sending the direct mail to, I don't know, like like a sorority house or something, where maybe it's just not, over time you found it just hasn't been relevant.
Yeah. It's just like, it makes me never want to get a Discover card because of how often I get a thick envelope, high gloss. It just seems so wasteful.
Well, Discover, I know you're out there listening, so let that hit home. Let it hit home. You have lost access to the crazy spending habits of Chris Slezak. You should see this guy. You know how many Lamborghinis he's got? One. From his website. Based on his website, he has one Lamborghini that is a photo up on it. And so he has one of them, but he needs to get accessories, and he probably will need to get that on credit. So Discover, you've missed out yet again. You blew it. You blew it. Ah, God. Now we move on to media. This week, this one, I'm excited about this one. I mean, I get excited about most, if not all of our topics. I don't know if I've ever brought a table or a topic here that I'm like, that topic sucks. I don't like it. But this one I do really like. And this is about IGTV. Chris, what's IGTV? What is it?
It's this thing on Instagram that, as far as I know, is an icon shaped like a television with a red dot telling me I should do something with it that I usually ignore.
They want you to press that TV. Yes, it's in the top right-ish corner. It's not the absolute top right, but it's in the top right. It looks like a little TV. I believe it has like a little lightning bolt in the middle. I could open it up right now, but it's right up there. It looks like a TV. And what it is Instagram TV. And it's Instagram's kind of, I don't want to say newborn, but platform to compete with longer form video sites, such even as a Facebook. But really, since Facebook owns Instagram, it's really about more and more platforms competing with the YouTube, right? Because YouTube is still very much king when it comes to just video. Yeah. So Facebook, they're with Facebook Watch, which might build out a little bit more this year, but really IGTV is a place for longer form content. Now, the big barrier for creators with IGTV has been that it was exclusively vertical video content, which we'll talk about in a second here, but it's a little more challenging because the quote unquote traditional video is not vertical, it's horizontal, right? Your eyeballs are set up to look at things in a wide screen versus a tall screen. Our eyeballs are not on top of each other, right?
For now.
For now. That's a good point. For now. But let's revisit this episode a year from now. Things might change. But the challenge is phones vertical. So a lot of video consumption happens on a vertical screen. So what happens when you get a horizontal video? You have to turn the screen, which, the big pain of turning a screen 90 degrees. How do you do it? Well, listen, people sometimes don't want to do it. Okay. Now, why are we saying all of these things? Well, here are where these two topics combine. They come together. IGTV is now allowing you to upgrade or upload horizontal video to IGTV. It's great. Yeah. Because before it had to be in the vertical format. And if you had previously shot something horizontally, which 90% of people have done, if it's something that is very polished, a lot of times it will be shot in the more native horizontal. You either had to re-edit it vertically, which sometimes I can speak because this is what Tricycle Creative, we do this a lot with our customers. We actually edit videos in vertical and in horizontal and in square, which I'm going to talk about here in a second, because square does really well on Facebook, of course, right? We edit them and export them in all different formats. Editing something in vertical can be a very different story than editing something in horizontal.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you have to really go into a shoot thinking about where is this going to end up? Because some of the shots, when you shoot them horizontal, they're just not going to work. They're not going to work vertically. And so this has been a really nice addition. So if you kind of want to see this in action, if you go to Hello Tricycles Instagram, we did recently release a animation from our pilot episode of Tripod, and it's a horizontal video, but we uploaded it to IGTV. And the nice thing too is now IGTV, and I'm sure you've noticed this, IGTV is playing like little previews in your feed. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
And it's good. I'm going to say it kind of hooks me because I do get hooked in to some of that content because I'm spending more than maybe a minute on it. And then it gets you, it's like, oh, you want to watch the rest? Click through to watch the rest on IGTV. It's pretty effective. Has it not worked at all for you, or
so
are you not falling for it? You're too smart.
Well, so, when I'm cruising Instagram, I would argue that a lot of times it's just a time filler. It's just because it's my version of going out to have a smoke. I've got time to kill. I'm just going to scroll through my Instagram feed, double tap a few things. So I feel like I'm never sitting down and ready to strap in for a long.
So your habits
video.
are more the casual
Right.
jumper in anyways. You're not really there to get invested in some longer form stuff. We've talked about this before too. It's like, again, it's what are you looking at it on, right? Is the small screen versus the TV, that kind of thing. But I mean,
Which, especially with Instagram, they don't really have a whole lot going on their web.
no,
It's all
no, not at all. It's
so,
and that's
I would argue that would be different. I would probably watch IGTV on a desktop,
yeah,
and not on my phone.
for sure. So let's talk a little bit. I want to. So again, the important update is if you have old videos related to your company or your business and they are horizontal and you now want to share them on IGTV, because before, if you had them and let's say they were 2.5 minutes long, you couldn't share them to Instagram. That's too long. You could only put it in to up to like a minute clips. It would trim it, right? Well, now you can share the longer form stuff on IGTV. That's horizontal. But let's take a little, let's go off-roading again, as we tend to do here. Let's go off the path a little, and let's talk about the different types of video, because this is where I love this stuff, and my videographers will echo that I love this stuff, because this has a lot to do with the distribution of content and understanding not only what the content is, where it's going, and then how to deliver it. So there are really 3 different formats, if you will, of video. You have, we'll just say, the more traditional HD. So that is it's a rectangle on its side, right? It's your TV. It's widescreen, 1920 by 1080, HD, right? That's traditional. It's what you watch on YouTube for the most part, right? Then you have vertical, which is 1080 across width by 1920 high. So you basically take your TV and turn it on its side. That's vertical. Now, I was looking at Buffer. Buffer does some great research stuff, and they tested a lot of these things, and they found that vertical video consistently outperformed square video, which is the next one we'll get to, within the newsfeed. So why is that? It's the video, ironically, when posting to Facebook, from what they found, the order of engagement goes HD, the lowest, square, the next best, and then vertical. It's because, ironically, when you go square and then, by extension, vertical, you're actually taking up more landscape on a phone.
Right.
You're taking up more room.
It's made to fit your entire screen.
Yeah.
So, it's literally more in your face.
What am I going to do, Chris? Turn my phone? I don't have the wrist dexterity for that. All right? I'm brittle.
Even if you flip it, is it even going to work?
No, not unless you go full screen. So it's a tap. You got to go tap, turn.
Nobody's got time.
What am I? What do I do next? Dance for you? No, not doing any of that, right? So then let's talk about which format drives the most engagement from their research on the Instagram feed. Once again, it's vertical. And they found that have resulted in 6% more 3-second video views and 180%, 87%, 100. Let me do that again. Let's restart. 187% more 50% total watch time. So that means more people, 187% more, watched half the video. Interesting, right?
Yeah, that's big number.
But this is hard, and this is where, as even a small business that you have a phone, right? Or for you, Chris, I mean, doing the content creation stuff that you even do on the road with the band, there's a lot of times where you have to make a decision of how you shoot content based on where it's going to live. Because you have the option with one phone to either shoot something vertical or to shoot something horizontal.
Is this where Square comes in?
Square is hedging your bets. I feel like
sort of splitting the difference.
Yeah. Square is splitting the difference for sure. Square would definitely allow you to hedge your bets there. Right?
But probably your best bet if you know you're going to put it on more than one platform.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. I mean, you're going to be very limited, at least if you shoot it in HD. So again, we're talking about widescreen. You have the opportunity to do it widescreen on a YouTube. And it's not to say you can't then put that on Facebook or Instagram, right? But we're talking about, we're helping to inform you. Again, that's what we do here in this podcast, right? Some to get your brain thinking, right? To try different things. But you can post that on YouTube. You can post it on all the platforms. You could also take that and make it square, right? But you are going to be severely limited to take traditional, again, HD video and put it in vertical. This is where the love comes for 4K, right? So 4K, when you shoot, is a much larger image, for really dumbing it down here. So you can kind of crop in to frames and out and stretch it a lot more. That's why 4K and 8K and all these other Ks, that's what they are. They're essentially, HD is 1920 by 1080 pixels. 4K is essentially 4 times that. So you can crop in, you can stretch it, you can you can get potentially a couple more edit opportunities out of that footage without it starting to go wonky. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So even now, I mean, my phone shoots 4K. You know, you have opportunities there to shoot, again, horizontal, but then maybe still get save some stuff and get some vertical. Because a lot of the footage output is still HD.
Well, they ought to start incorporating, sort of guide lines within the camera apps that sort of show you, like, hey, here's your vertical box. So that way, even if you're shooting horizontally, you can see where. I mean, it would still, the only way that,
it would only give you the width though, right? I mean, you're still going to be thrown off a bit by being able to scale it, but you're totally right. And so, I mean, I think this is where getting all the way back to the initial subject to IGTV allowing horizontal, I think this became I'm not going to say a necessary move, because Snapchat is sticking to their guns on like vertical and just like going to the grave with everything vertical. And they're actually having a good amount of success with that. But I think what this allows is more people engaging with the IGTV platform. Everything prior to, I don't know, let's be generous and say, when did the iPhone come out? I mean, let's say 8 years. I know it was more than that, but let's just say everything prior to 8 years before that, 100% of it was shot horizontally, right? Yeah. And even since that time, a still grand percentage of it was shot horizontally. And by IGTV opening that up on this platform, it allows more people to at least start to put content there, right? To maybe flood it with content. That's what they want. They want people to go on there and check it out.
Is there a size limit that you're aware of?
As far as file size or as far as clip length?
Either.
Yes, and it's interesting because if you go to IG, at least when I went like a week or two ago and started looking at IGTV's help article, it was wrong, the size limit. So I think the size limit it's big. I even want to say it's like up to like 3 gigs. Like
So if I
giant,
want to upload,
long form. If you were to update the TED Talk that you did about gummy bears,
right, I
you
could
could
put
do
that
that.
whole.
It's pretty big, and they do have a web functionality to update to upload to IGTV. Now, as far as length of clip, I think the length of clip is only limited to the actual file size, if that makes sense.
Cool. So I can get all 48 minutes of my Gummy Bear TED Talk in there.
Yeah, for sure. We welcome it. So, I mean, I think it's a really, again, a great opportunity for businesses and brands that have longer form content, because if you just upload it to YouTube, it's I believe, it's kind of a moving thing on this, but I believe it's like 60 seconds, maybe 60 or 90 seconds just to like add it to your Facebook feed, or I'm sorry, your Instagram feed. So that's where IGTV comes in, is for the longer form stuff. So if you have longer form stuff, you now have the opportunity to share it on Instagram through IGTV, and reach new audiences. And now we look to wrap the show with our miscellaneous topic. And this week, we're talking about streaming with a friend, Chris. No, that's not sword. Never mind. It's not crossing the streams in the men's restroom.
Yeah.
It's not like that. We're talking about live online streaming. And this came up because Twitter recently announced. Twitter is just like the lovable scamp. Like you want to love it. It makes it hard to love, right? And Twitter just announced, got me excited. Oh, you can now invite up to 3 guests to join on a live broadcast. That's exciting, right?
Yeah.
But audio only basis.
Oh.
Twitter. You're so close. You almost had it. You had it almost
When I
there.
think Twitter, I think audio.
I mean, and it's not because this technology does not exist. You have Instagram. You can now bring in a guest, 1 guest. Can't bring in 3, but it's video, right? Facebook Live, you can bring in a guest. Now, the thing that annoys me with, I guess, all of these, but mostly Facebook, is that you can only bring in a guest on mobile. And I'll tell you why that annoys me the most with Facebook, is because they have a viable browser desktop experience.
Yeah.
Drives me nuts. Now, these other ones, Instagram's desktop experience is poop. It's not, no one would use it. It's not even usable. It's not even a thing. Twitter, better desktop experience, but they're Twitter. They're probably not even going to roll this out to TweetDeck or to anything on the Twitter browser for like 3.5 years, right? Again, Twitter, you're trying. You're just like, you think they're just like, Twitter's just in the social media minds. Like they're just in there and they're just hammering away, it's a tough life. And then they make this miraculous breakthrough of hey, we can get 3 guests on an audio only, and they get in the little mine car. It pulls them up to the top, and it's like, hey everyone, 3 guests, audio only. It was like, bro, people, like, what? Like, people are videoing multiple people in the same stream. What do you mean audio only? Like, what? That's not a big deal. And then they have to go back. They're just defeated. They have to go back in to the mine. Oh no, our greatest accomplishment. It was fool's gold. It wasn't real. We blew it back into the social media mines. And then the Twitter bird flies down the mine and he doesn't make it out again. Oh God. Oh no. Twitter, we want to love you so much, but why? Why audio only? There's an app called House Party. Yeah, like 10 people on the same stream. Video. I don't. Twitter.
Breathe. Take a breath.
I really want to like Twitter. That's the thing. I really do. I just don't feel like I'm smart enough or funny enough consistently. That's the big thing. Let's just be honest here. Oh God, Twitter.
It's like having a friend with a drug problem.
Are you talking about me right now, or are you talking about Twitter? Are you talking about yeah? Are you talking about me on Twitter and my rants, my inconsistent rants?
Yeah,
they're really not. They're quite consistent. They're always around stupid TV shows for the most part. But that's Twitter, right? So have you ever live stream? How you say live streamed?
On Facebook and on YouTube, yes.
Okay. Was that you personally? Was that when you had rants, or was this music related?
The Possum Posse did a whole live performance on Facebook. We did an entire, I don't know, probably hour-long concert from our own little studio.
Whoa.
Chatted, interacted, took requests.
Exclusive.
Yes. Yeah. Nice, private, intimate digital gathering.
Wow.
Sounds. It was a positive experience.
Of course. So we are going to try to search out a positive experience of our own. And we're going to end this podcast just a little bit early. And we're actually going to go, Chris and I are going to go and do a little quick live stream over on the Hello Tricycle Instagram account because that's what we're going to do. All right, folks, that's what we like to do. So again, we're going to end this episode a little bit early. I encourage you that if you have not yet subscribed, rated, or contacted us, please do so wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can also connect with us at Hello Tricycle. Send us messages, send us love, tell us what you think, tell us what you want to learn more about. And we shall be back next week, show 9. We are almost coming up on 10 episodes, Chris. Can you believe it?
How are we going to celebrate?
On show 10, it's going to be a clip show, I think. I think we just need to do a clip show.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we need to really congratulate ourselves. And really, we deserve it.
It's good for the ego.
It really is. So that will be 2 shows away. So stick with us. This has been Tripod, the Tricycle Creative Marketing Podcast. We hope to see you next time. And again, please connect with us at Hello Tricycle. Subscribe, rate, all those good things that people do with podcasts. Do it. Tell a friend. And we are going to hop over and maybe we'll see you on that Instagram.
Thanks for listening to Tripod. For show notes and bonus content, go to tricycle-creative.com/tripod. Connect with Tricycle Creative on Facebook and Instagram at Hello Tricycle. Connect with Ross at Ross Hero. Connect with Chris on Instagram at Ruthless Chris Steakhouse.